This is Zelda from Wilson Consulting. I'd like to show you a new version of analytics, GA4. It's causing a bit of a ruckus at the moment. Some people aren't quite sure whether to go with it or not. At this stage, Google is starting to enforce that when you are in your analytics account and you set up a new property, it now defaults to the GA4 tag. The old one that used to default to was the UA, Universal Analytics tag. So a lot of your older websites would most likely contain that as the tag that would be using the collection of data that goes through to analytics. So I'm going to show you now how we create a GA4 tag, and then combined with that, I'm going to show you how to add it to your website. And then I'm also going to show you Google Tag Manager, which is another function that allows us to set up better control keys for specific containers where you might want to check what is converting on your website. It gives you the ability, if you've got buttons or a checkout cart, a booking or a form, you can add certain containers in Google Tag Manager, and then you can measure which one of these are getting the most hits so that you can manage your conversions properly. So let's start with analytics. I'm in my analytics account and I've come into my admin mode. I now have a create a property option here. So this is what I'm going to do, select for a new property. And as mentioned earlier, it defaults to GA4 now. So over here, I'm going to put my property name. In this case, it's going to be a test site that I'm working on, and I'm just going to put H square test. I'm going to put here South Africa as the country. You can put whichever one relates to you. Over here, the South African time is +2, so I've got that. That's standard there. And down here, I want to use the currency as South African rands. I come down here, there is South African rands. Come back to my section and go to next. It's asking me how many employees, in this case 1 to 10, and then it's asking me what do I want to measure here. So it's up to you which of these you select. I'm going to go with optimize my site or app experience, measure data across all devices, optimize for advertising costs, increase my conversions, measure content, analyze sales, measure app, no, I'm not going to worry with that, measure lead, and then I'm going to create. So I've selected those options. As I say, you can choose. Then I'm going to create. Now it's showing me here the 3 platforms that I can select that I want to use this GA4 for measurement for. In my case, I'm going to use it for a website. So I've clicked on that. And then over here, it wants me to put in the name or the URL of the website. I'm going to come over here to my tab, which has my test site. And I'm going to copy that, come back to analytics. I'm going to add it in here, minus this section because I've already got it in here. I'm going to go over here. What is the stream name so that I can identify it? I'm going to call it the name of the business. Test. And then here it defaults to the measurement options, and it's got here for page views, scrolls up on clicks, site search, video, file downloads. So it'll measure all of these and collect data for that. I'm now going to create this as a stream. And over here now, it's got certain information that I will need to use elsewhere. So for example, this measurement tag, I'm going to show you where I will use it just now. And down here, I have the global site tag. If I open this section here, this I would specifically use for a website, and especially where I'm using a website builder, I use Elementor. And here is my tag that must be added into the website to start collecting data. And here it shows me it must go into the header section. So I can copy this tag over here, and now I will go to my website, and in my website I have already, here I am in my dashboard of WordPress, I have already added a plugin called Insert Headers and Footers by WP Beginner. When I come down here to the settings section, here is my Insert Headers and Footers. So when I click on that, it opens up the section to allow me to add the tags. Here is the header, here is the body, and here is the footer. So I want to add in here my G tag, G4 tag. So I've pasted that. Now in some cases, on some other websites, you may already have in here, if it's an older website, a universal analytics tag. What I've done with most of my clients and my site, I've kept that UA tag, and the reason is I still have my history. Whereas now, when you add the G4 tag, it starts collecting new data. It doesn't have any history. So that's why in a case with an older website, I'd want to keep both tags for the moment. I come down here and I will now say save. Right, now that we've completed that, I've come over here into my tagmanager.google.com account. And in Tag Manager, we want to link this to our G4 tag. Now, how we do this is for each of your clients, you will create an account. So over here, I'm going to say create an account, and I'm going to click here and put my account name. So in this case, it's H Square Test South Africa. It's asking me here if I want to collect data. In this case, I don't. And down here, I want to add the website. It's only part of the name that I would add, not the whole name. So I just copy and paste. Usually I find that a lot safer, and then I'll just strip out what I don't need. So I've come here to the website, copied that part of the URL. I'm now going back to my Google Tag Manager, and in here I'm going to paste. I'm going to remove https:// and here again it's asking me what platform am I going to run this on. It's for web. I'm going to create. It's now asking me here, do I wish to accept the services agreement? I say yes. And here it has now created the account for me for my test site under Tag Manager. And it's giving me Google tags to put in the header and in the body. So I'm going to now copy this tag here, which goes into the header. I come back to my website tab here, and below this script in the header, I now paste that particular tag. The other tag will now go into the body section. I come back to Google Tag Manager and I copy the body section here. I come back to my website, and in the body section I will now paste that tag, and I come down here and I press save. Right, back in my Tag Manager again, I'm now finished with this and I can say OK. Now we want to add, under my test site here, a new tag. We've only created the account at this stage. In here, I've got my tag configuration. Here, it shows me options for Google Universal Analytics if I want to add it for that. In this particular case, I'm using it for my GA4 configuration tag. Over here, the measurement ID that I mentioned earlier is in analytics that I would use. So I've now got to go back to my analytics page, and here at the top of this page is the measurement ID that I want to copy. Going back to my tag manager, I paste this into here. And this is all I need to do in this section. I don't need to do anything else. However, I want to come now to the triggering section. I click on this, and I want that to be for all pages. And now I can save it, and it will ask me for the name that I want to create here. Again, it's the GA4 configuration, and I'm going to just put the H square test in front of it so I know that's the tag name, and save it for GA4 config. Right. Having created that tag, I now want to know, because I've added the information to the website, and I want to make sure, is it working? So I can come over here to this section of the site, or of the Google Tag Manager site, and check preview. It will now open the page of the website once I've added the website test page in here. So I'm going to copy it here. I've come to my website page, copying that. I'm going to come over to my tag section here, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to see, will this connect to my website? It's going to check that that code is talking, and here it says Tag Assistant is now connected. So once that's done, I can continue here, and what I'd like to do next is check if Analytics is also able to receive the data. So I'm going to click back on this window for Analytics. I'm completed this section with the web stream details. I'm now clicking on Configure, and under that Configure section, it says, do I want to do a debug? And here it's showing me that it's able to collect data from the site. Sometimes this window can be blank for a while. It won't show this happening here, and you can just come up here and refresh a few times, 2 to 3 times should do it, and then you should start seeing the data coming through. That's great. Now we can come back to our Google tag. We know it's all working. The triggers are able to fire. Now we need to make sure that we publish it so that it becomes live, because at the moment it's just in debug and test mode. So we come to our Submit button over here in our Google Tag Manager. I add a descriptive name. Again, it's H square test. I don't really need to add a description. I'm going to say Publish. And how I can check is under my Tag Manager, I come back here to Workspace. And here it shows me the live version is now running. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching.